Yes.
Respectfully, Lord, my name is Adeboye Gawomolo. I rest on the earlier appearances for the prosecution. Thank you, my Lord.
Thank you. I try to appeal to the defendant to compose himself and in his usual rude manner he refused, and I think we have to go on. Let me hear from counsel to the prosecution force.
Please, Your Lordship, there's no doubt that this court is a court of law, court of justice, and a superior court of record where conduct of parties, their counsel, are guided and regulated by the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. What we have just witnessed by the defendant is a misconduct which justifies the provision and invocation of Section 266 of the ACJA.
266?
Yes, my Lord. If you permit me, sir, I read.
You may read, sir.
A defendant shall, subject to the provisions of Section 135 of this Act, be present in court during the whole of his trial, unless he misconduct himself in such a manner as to render his continuing presence impracticable or undesirable, or at the hearing of the interlocutor. So it's 2661A. So I'll be urging Your Lordship to invoke that section to remove the defendant from these further proceedings. And I thank Your Lordship, sir. It is in the interest of justice that the court should function according to the law. It's not to be at the behest of parties.
Yes.
Thank you, my Lord.
Well, I must say this. The presence of a defendant throughout the trial, it is a constitutional right, and it's contained in Section 36 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Also, this temple of justice is temple of God, because God himself established this temple for justice. So the sanctity of this temple must always be maintained. The unruly behavior of the defendant is not a new one, but he has gotten to a level that these courts have to make progress. We've seen instances where the defendant will beat his counsel to keep quiet and not talk where he's talking. We've seen instances where he will move against security officers. Let's come back to this morning. He acted unruly. I appealed to him severally. I asked him to be excused. I asked him to excuse us. The security officers moved to him. They begged him through severally. In his usual manner, he refused to comport himself. Institution must be respected. We must act according to rules and laws. Nobody is above the law. That is the essence of having court of law. If we allow anybody to act anyway, the sanctity of this temple will not be there. As a judicial officer, I'm bound to protect the sanctity of this temple of justice. Like I said earlier, the right to be present throughout the trial is a constitutional right, even fundamental rights. But fundamental right is not absolute. It's opportunity to use that right that you have. Please don't open that door again, please. Once you have been given the opportunity and you fail to use that opportunity, such person cannot claim a breach of that. It is tried law that if a defendant misbehaves or acts unruly in the courtroom, his trial can be done in his absence. As stated by the defendant this morning, he said he has put in his defense. He is not calling any witness, that is only written address. And I will get to the issue of written address in the judgments. We are not taking evidence this morning. Is to take judgment and sentence if possible. It is based on that I hereby make an order that because of the unruly behavior of defendants, his aggressiveness and violent nature, I hereby made an order that the judgment and other proceedings proceed in his absence. I take my judgments. The defendant was arraigned before this court on 7-count charge, which reads thus. Count 1. That you, Nnamdi Kanu, male, adult, of Afaranuku Ibeku in Umo North Local Government area of Abia State, sometimes in 2021, being a member and the leader of Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOP, a proscribed organization, did commit an act in furtherance of acts of terrorism against the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the people of Nigeria by making a broadcast received and heard in Nigeria within the jurisdiction of this court, with intent to intimidate the population, and you threatened that people will die, the whole world will stand still, and you thereby committed an offense punishable under Section 1, Sub 2B of the Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act 2013. Count 2. That you, Nnamdi Kanu, male, adult of Afaranuku Ibeku in Umo here North Local Government area of Abia State, sometimes in 2021, did commit an act in furtherance of an act of terrorism against the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the people of Nigeria, made a broadcast received and heard in Nigeria within the jurisdiction of this honorable court with intent to intimidate the population, you issue a deadly threat that anyone who flouted your seat at home order shall write his or her will. As a result, banks, schools, markets, shopping malls, fuel stations, domiciled in the eastern states of Nigeria were not open for businesses. Citizen and vehicular movements in the eastern states of Nigeria were grounded within the jurisdiction of this honorable court, and you thereby committed an offense punishable under Section 1, Sub 2B of the Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act 2013. Count 3, that you, Nnamdi Kanu, male adults of Afaraku Ibeku, Umuahia North Local Government of Abia State, on dates between 2018 and 2021 within the jurisdiction of this honorable court, profess yourself to be a member and leader of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, a proscribed organization in Nigeria, and that you thereby committed an offense contrary to and punishable under Section 16 of the Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act 2013. Count 4, that you, Nnamdi Kanu, male adult of Afara Nuku Ibeku, Umuahia North Local Government Area of Abia State, on date between 2018 and 2021, made a broadcast received and had in Nigeria within the jurisdiction of this court in furtherance of an act of terrorism against the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the people of Nigeria, in which you incite members of the public in Nigeria to hunt and kill Nigeria security personnel, and that you thereby committed an offense punishable under Section 12H of the Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act 2013. Count 5. That you, Nnamdi Kanu, male adults of Afara Nuku Ibeku, Umuahia North Local Government Area of Abia State, on date between 2018 and 2021, made a broadcast received and had in Nigeria within the jurisdiction of this court in furtherance of an act of terrorism against the Federal Republic of Nigeria and people of Nigeria, in which you incite members of the public in Nigeria to hunt and kill families of Nigeria security personnel, and that you thereby committed an offense punishable under Section 12H of the Terrorism Prevention Act 2013. Count 6, that you, Nnamdi Kanu, male adults of Afara Nuku Ibeku in Umuahia North Local Government Area of Abia State, dates between 2018 and 2021, made a broadcast received and had in Nigeria within the jurisdiction of this court in furtherance of an act of terrorism against the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the people of Nigeria, in which you directed members of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, a proscribed organization, to manufacture bombs, and you thereby committed an offense punishable under Section 12F of the Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act 2013. Count 7, that you, Nnamdi Kanu, male adult of Afara Nuku Ibeku in Umuahia North Local Government Area of Abia State, on date between the month of March and April 2015, imported into Nigeria and kept in Ubuluzo in Ihiala Local Government Area of Anambra State, within the jurisdiction of this court, a radio transmitter known as Tram 50L concealed in a container of used household items, which you declare as used household item, and you thereby committed an offense contrary to Section 47(2)A of the Criminal Code, Cap C45, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. In discharging its burden of proof, the prosecution called 5 witnesses as follows. 1. Mr. AAA as PW1, Mr. BBB as PW2, Mr. CCC as PW3, Mr. DDD as PW4, Mr. EEE as PW5. The prosecution also tendered the following, which were admitted in evidence by these courts. 1. A document titled Items Recovered from Nnamdi Kanu of Radio Biafra at Golden Oakley Hotel located at number 42/44 Airport Road, Lagos on the 15th day of October 2015 was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWA. 2. Two discs titled Interview with Nnamdi Kanu and a certificate of compliance filed on the 28th day of April 2025 were admitted and marked as Exhibit PWB and PWB2 respectively. 3. The statement of the defendants dated 15th day of October 2015 was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWC. 4. A process titled A List of Items of Nnamdi Kanu filed on the 19th day of March 2024 was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWD. 5. 4 bags as identified by PW1, Mr. AAA, were admitted and marked as Exhibits E-Bag A to E-Bag D respectively. 6. Items in Exhibit E-Bag A as identified by PWA were admitted and marked as Exhibit E-Bag A1 to E-Bag A13 respectively. 7. Items from Exhibit E-Bag B were admitted and marked as E-Bag B1 to E-Bag B32 respectively. 8. 10 items from Exhibit E-Bag C, Exhibit E-Bag C1 to Exhibit E-Bag C10 respectively. 9. Contents of Exhibit E-Bag D were admitted and marked as Exhibit E-Bag D1 to Exhibit E-Bag D17. 11. The statement of the defendant Nnamdi Kanu dated 17th day of July 2021 was admitted as Exhibit PWG. 12. A device to it, flash drive, black and red in color, and a certificate of compliance were admitted and marked as Exhibit PWH and PWH1 respectively. 13. A disc in respect to the statement of the defendant taken on the 17th July 2021 and certificate of compliance thereto were admitted and marked as Exhibit PW1 and PWI and PWI1 respectively. 14. Federal Republic of Nigeria of Official Gazette number 99 in volume 104, dated 20th day of September 2017, titled Terrorism Prevention Order 2017, was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWJ. A document to its medical report titled Late Ahmed Gulak, Hospital number 013931, dated 18th July 2021, was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWK. 16. A certified true copy of the judgment in HIN/FR/2021 between Nnamdi Kanu versus Federal Republic of Nigeria and 7 others, delivered on the 19th day of January 2022, was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWL. 17, a certified true copy of judgment in FAC/UM/CS/30/2022 delivered on 26 October 2022 between Nnamdi Kanu versus Federal Republic of Nigeria and 2 others was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWM. 18, a certified true copy of the judgment in suit number E/2023 between Mazi Nnamdi Kanu applying for himself and on behalf of members of indigenous people of Biafra IPOB versus Federal Republic of Nigeria and 4 others, delivered on the 26th day of October 2023, was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWN. 19, a document titled Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiries on Restitution for Victims of SARS-related abuses and other matters was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWO. 20, a faster flash drive with certificate of compliance were admitted and marked as Exhibit PWP and PWP1 respectively. 21, a disc titled Interview with Sahara Reporter with certificate of compliance was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWS. 22, the search warrant dated 28th day of October 2015 with search reports was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWT. 23, a disc mask radio transmitter extra with certificate of compliance was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWU. 24, the statement of Benjamin Madubugu dated the 3rd day of November 2015 was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWV. 25, a SanDisk flash drive with its attachments and also with certificate of compliance was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWW. 26, online printout of Vanguard newspaper and certificate of compliance was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWS. 27, a container containing a transmitter was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWY. 29, a certified true copy of report on request for professional assessment of radio transmitter dated 25th day of November 2015 was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWA2. 30, certified true copy of Vanguard newspaper of 3rd day of July 2021 from National Library was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWB2. 31, the payment receipt with revenue collection receipt from National Library of Nigeria receipt number 19128 of 7th June 2025 was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWC2. 32, the report of assessment of the damage as a result of NSAS was admitted and marked as Exhibit PWD2. 33, death reports and certificates of security officers was admitted and marked Exhibit PWD2A. 34, certificate of compliance was admitted as Exhibit PWD2B. PW1, the evidence of the witnesses. Mr. A.A.H. is an officer of the Department of State Service. His schedule of duties includes arrest, investigation, and taking of statements of suspects. According to him, the defendant is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra group. He stated that his first contact with the defendant was on the 14th day of October 2015, when he was detailed by his commander in the Lagos office to go to Essential Airport Hotel to arrest the defendant. PW1 stated that he went with some other officers, with one of them named Bolaji Adeyemo. On arrival at the hotel, they introduced themselves and informed the hotel workers that they were there to arrest the defendants. PW1 even showed the receptionist the photograph of the defendants, but he was told that the defendant was not in the hotel. He then asked for the guest manifest, but the name of the defendant was not on the manifest. So PW1 reverted to his commander, who then ordered that they conduct room-to-room search. In the process, they enlisted the cooperation of the manager of the hotel, who availed them of the master key of the rooms. Shortly after, Bolaji called PW1, who was downstairs, with his director, informing him that he had found the defendant in room 303. On getting to the room, PW1 stated that he met a young lady who was later identified as Miriam Ibezimako. He introduced himself to the defendant and informed them of the purpose of their visits. Thereafter, they proceeded to arrest the defendants, who initially resisted arrest. PW1 further stated that during the encounter, Bolaji intervened to calm the situation after the defendant had booted him, whereupon the defendant eventually agreed to follow them to the station. PW1 stated that and recorded the statements from him, which was captured on video. PW1 stated that at the time he took the statement of the defendant, the allegation against him was that he was the founder and leader of an organization known as the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, through which he allegedly agitated for the violent secession of Nigeria's southern eastern states, South states, and as well as two states from the north central region, namely Benue and Kogi. Also, that he founded Radio Biafra, through which he broadcast his intentions, inciting the general public, particularly his followers and those who are sympathetic to his cause, to violence to achieve the situation he was agitating for. PW1 then stated that he issued the defendant with his service statement form after administering the cautionary word onto the defendant, and then he proceeded to write down his statements. The defendant signed the statement, and same was countersigned by him, PW1. PW1 stated further that the international passport of the defendant was recovered and brought to them the following day by the manager of the hotel, who found the passport on a bedside locker. Also, that the defendant used the name of Owenekeyi Ezebigo to book the hotel accommodation, and that was the name in the manifest. PW1 stated that during the interview of the defendant, he admitted to the allegation against him that he is indeed the founder and leader of Indigenous People of Biafra Group, and that he operated Radio Biafra, which is not registered by the Nigeria Broadcasting Commission or any other government agency. In addition, the radio station broadcast information across Nigeria.
The adventure begins. One tap, multiple choices. With BetKing Bet Builder, every match becomes your playground. Select your predictions like who will get a card.
The defendant's lawyer was not present. PW1 said he took the statements of only the defendant, and that the items recovered from the defendant did not look offensive. Also, that they did not analyze the phone of the defendant, as they thought it was immaterial at that time. He said he did not personally arrest and investigate any person who may have committed any crime on the instigation of the defendant. Furthermore, that he did not investigate the lady arrested with the defendant to see if she was aiding the defendant in terrorism activities. PW1 denied knowing if the defendant's named any other person as a co-conspirator, or if any other person is standing trial on a related charge. PW1 said from his knowledge, the defendant had the support of persons like Simon Ekpa in his agitation for secession. He said the defendant incited others to destroy public properties. PW1 stated that even though there have been killings in other states, such as Kaduna, Zamfara, as far as he could tell, those killings were not product of agitations for separation. He said he knows that IPOB was prescribed in 2017, but he does not have other details of the matter. PW1 stated that there are people who carried out the order of defendants, including sit-at-home order, in which people have been killed for disobeying the directive. He stated that he is not aware that a charge against the defendant for inciting person to kill military officer was struck out by the court. Under re-examination, PW1 stated that the agitation of the defendant in this case is for a call for separation from the country for the southeastern, south-south, and some north-central states. PW1, Mr. BBB, is an officer of the Department of State Service. He stated that the defendant is a member and leader of prescribed terrorist group called IPOB, which means the indigenous people of Biafra. PW2 also stated that he was assigned to take the statement of the defendant on the 17th day of July 2021.